Alright everybody, Wild-Billiam here again with you. Today I'm going to pick the Abus EC7550. Hold on while I take this out. Unfortunately I lost my audio for some reason. This is a dimple padlock. It has a dead core. It is a beast. That keyway is so tiny that you need multi-pick flags to even get into it. I've heard you can use like a half diamond as well. Here I'm going to show you that the lock works as always. I'm going to show you the key now. This thing has some crazy bitting. The very last, I think number 6 pin in this thing is 0 lift, and right beside of it are is a max lift, and the ones beside it are 2 0 lift pins. Makes this lock very difficult for me to pick. Just getting started. I can't believe this is just a blue belt lock because of that. I'm using a Z-bar that I got with my bare bones picks and a number 11 multi-pick flag. I'm going to pick from the far left side in between the 2 pieces of warding on this lock. Yeah, I've got to find my way all the way into the back of this thing and try to lift that one pin, which you can barely even feel because it doesn't really want to set until other pins are set, but I can't figure out a way to get into the back of this. So as you're going to see here in a few seconds, I absolutely struggled on this thing forever, so I sped it up, took a break, and came back to it. Shout out to Blue Scooby Wagon, first of all. He's the one who gave me the flag number he used to do this, which was a huge help in figuring this one out. You kind of have to float pick it and manually move that back and forth because you don't really feel good counter rotation. And in the words of Lucy from Peanuts, ARG, I sped this up 1,000% because I struggled with this for a long time and kept having to reset over and over and over again. Apologies for losing the audio. I'm still new to this recording thing, and I'm trying to use the software that I use to edit to let me record as well. So it's definitely been a learning experience. It's hard to believe Locksport's gotten me into, making tools and to editing software. You can see here I tried quickly to move the lock to a different position and try that. That didn't work. I think part of it was trying to have that camera in front of me so that you're not looking at the back of my head while I'm doing this. I'm trying to eyeball where that pin sits on that flag, and just struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled. And eventually I'm going to take a second here to take a breather, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to mark that flag where that number 6 pin is. Still takes me a couple of tries, but it goes much easier this time around. So I have to kind of hold that binding and work my way through it. I think I still end up resetting here a couple more times, but I eventually get it. You'll see here in just a second. You've got to be very gentle moving that Z-bar back and forth. It's more of a struggle than I'd hoped it would be, but there we go. I got it open finally. I mean, it's amazing how many times I've opened this thing yesterday when I first posted the picture on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I'm going to have to get a better way to record, maybe some webcam software or something that lets me focus manually while I'm recording and things like that. Bonus feature, I'm going to come back here and do the EC7540. It's not the 30 that is the green belt lock. It sits in between, so it really isn't on the LPU Belts website for some reason. So you see here, this one has a sprung core, which I think honestly makes this lock more difficult to pick. But I think after the struggle bus of doing that one, I used just kind of a, I don't know, a weird little round Z-bar twisted one that I've got with the bare bones set. I'm still going to have to reset this one a couple of times, but not as much as that first one. This one has less pins. It's another one that's got some crazy key bitting. It has a max lift at pin 1 and at pin 4, and a zero lift at pin 2, and almost zero lift, maybe like a 1 on pin 5, and then like maybe a 2 on pin 3 in this lock. Interestingly enough, both of these locks have these like passive pins for key control in them. The key's reversible, so there's pins on both sides. I think that's a feature of the dimple locks in general. You see here I'm showing you the pins, and I mean this thing is just, these things are absolutely machines, and it's amazing and disappointing that the United States hasn't adopted these kinds of locks more. I think they're a more quality made lock. I mean, obviously locks are only to keep honest people honest, but I still think it would be good to add layers of defense to make our homes as strong as possible, whether it be cameras or stronger doors or, you know, deadbolts and those kinds of things. I mean, honestly, even if our doors had those crazy, you know, bars that go up and down into the floor, into the ceiling, you know, just stronger things in general, especially in areas that are very vulnerable to breaking and entering, we'd be much better off. Obviously, there's a limit to the cost and the benefit of those types of things, but you know, it's the little things. I've honestly thought about replacing my locks here at home with some more secure locks than what I currently have, just based on learning this hobby and learning how easily I can get past those locks, and you'd never know I was in your home without cameras and those things. You know, being an internal auditor for, gosh, I don't know, almost 18 years at this point, has taught me that you know, you can't just rely on one thing for security. The same thing goes in computers. We have this idea of layers of defense, you know, your firewalls, your access controls, and all those things. I mean, those things are all important in understanding how this stuff works. So I think I'm just about ready to get it here finally. Let's see. I mean, these locks are a lot of fun, but they are very frustrating. It's taken me about 2 weeks to figure them both out. That twisting motion that you use with these flags is just, it's a whole new technique and a whole new set of filling to figure out. You can see here I'm having to constantly kind of reset myself. Part of that mark stayed. I tried to wipe off what I could of it. I usually use a lens wipe or something to dissolve the Sharpie when I'm changing locks, especially learning one. Of course, the focus is all jacked up here because it's focused on my big hairy arm there. As I continue to struggle with this, you know, I want to shout out to all the people that have helped. I mentioned Blue Scooby Wagon, you know, people like Rev Chewy, Lady Locks, Lock Chuck, Nick's Picks, Brummy Lockpicker. I mean, there's so many people here on YouTube and on the Lockpickers United side that are amazing pickers and very encouraging. If you've never looked into lockpicking but you're interested, I highly recommend that you don't buy the cheap Chinese set that comes off of Amazon. You know, there's lots of different options out there and lots of different sites where you can get picks. Jimmy Long's, Covert Instruments, Sparrows, Greyhound, Southern Specialties, Peterson. There's lots of different price ranges. Over in Europe, you also have like Law Lock Tools, Moki, you have Multi-Pick, whose tool I'm using here. I mean, they're all fantastic. Bare Bones lock picking down in Australia is good. I have, you know, affordable picks. That was part of what they were trying to do. You know, don't buy the cheap Chinese pot metal picks. You'll bend them so easily. And here we go. Got it open. These locks have been a lot of fun, so much so that the next round of locks I'm trying to get are all dimple locks for the most part. There again is the key. I will show you again that the lock is working. I didn't do anything silly here. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you want more of this, have a great week.